Ms. Hunt?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I also wanted to put on the record that in this contract, Section 3.1 states that the amount of the contract is not to exceed $58,375 for the services specified in the agreement. And also, NRS 266.200, Section 2 states that in order for a mayor's veto to be overridden, there must be a 4/5 vote of the city council composed of 5 members.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Councilman Gustavson?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. You know, it's funny. Origin has done a lot of projects in this community. This is the first one that I'm aware of that there's ever been a problem. And I think that the one thing that really attests to their abilities and what they've been able to do for us, and we're worried about whether we're going to pay them $17,000 or $22,000. You may want to check out how they came out on our water treatment plant. I think they finished that on time, before probably even before it was supposed to be finished, and their budgets or their estimates were right on. A matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Billy, they came out underneath the cost on that one, right?
Yes, we were well within the budget of what we'd done on the wastewater treatment plant. Off the top of my hand, I'm not sure where each one of them items came from, but we had a $29 million project that with the design, construction, everything, we'd reduced that estimate down. That was contractors, engineers, design, geotechnical work, all of that stuff. The total amount was reduced from the original estimate.
Yeah, so anyway, it seems funny to me because right down here under section 12.6, it talks about, we recognize that the parties, both parties are responsible. So the city had certainly some responsibility when they asked for something to be built, and then they changed right in the middle of what they wanted to do, and it wasn't just a small change, it was a dramatic change in the way that I was going to have to operate. And I think if you go back and if you read all of their communications, when they communicated and how they communicated, they made it very clear that they were not going to be able to, no way they were going to be able to build this for the amount and be able to get the 9 items in that they wanted. As a matter of fact, they weren't able to get, I think they were only able to get, 3 or 4 of the 9 items that the city actually wanted to be built into this, which included cutting down the size of it. Workers, I think, offered a suggestion that maybe they take the bathrooms out, didn't want to take the bathrooms out. They made a lot of suggestions on how the cost could be cut on this, and the staff felt like they wanted to go ahead with it the way it was. And the net result of that was that they overspent, but they had told the staff they were going to overspend. So you guys do what you want to do, but I think it's foolhardy, and I think that the comment was made by one of our citizens earlier is that this is our idea of being business friendly, and so much for business friendly because it's probably going to run one of the best engineering companies we've got in the area out of here, because they have 14 offices, and they probably, but this is the way they're going to be treated in Mesquite, probably don't want to be here, be my guess. So,
Ms. Hunt?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to clarify for the record that Councilman Gustavson is stating these facts from Mr. Wheeler's report, not from a staff report. And the other item I wanted to clarify is 12.6 changes. States that the parties agree that no change or modification to this agreement or any attachment hereto shall have any force or effect unless the change is reduced to writing, dated and made part of this agreement. The execution of the change shall be authorized and signed in the same manner as this agreement. The same manner means that it has to come before council, it has to be approved, and then signed by the mayor before it is in effect. So I just wanted to clarify what that states.
Thank you. I think you made my point for me, because they do have actual letters and so on and communications. There were a number of meetings that were held that all the staff was there. So all those things did take place, just like you say. Unfortunately, after they were asked to go ahead and do things anyway, they did them, and then we had to wait 49 days or 47 days to get it before. It couldn't get approved because we couldn't get it on the council. I mean, I don't know why it took that long to get it before us, but it took that long to get it before us. So I think that I think there's plenty of blame to go around for everybody.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Withheld.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe Ms. Hunt clarified my next statement. The fact remains that everything should have been brought back to council for approval, and that just did not happen. And it was clearly stated in the contract that it must come to the council for approval and signed by the mayor before any further action can take place. So that's my point.
Councilman Littman.
Thank you, Mayor. I think what I've been listening to is a lot of comparisons of apples and oranges. I have no bone to pick with Forest Green one way or another. A contract is a contract, but when we start as a council on our own deciding what's right in a contract and what's wrong in a contract, and then move on that, we're setting up a very dangerous precedent in how we deal with professional contracts. If a contract is written and it's been approved by both parties, the contract should hold. And that's all I've got to say about it.
Thank you, Councilman. I just want to add to that as well that there's no personal ill feelings towards Forest Green at all here. Reading through that contract, there were certain items that were just not followed. And Councilman Gustavson made the point very clearly that both sides. My point as mayor is to look at contracts, to read contracts, and to enforce contracts. This contract wasn't followed. There were changes in the scope of this agreement that went well beyond what council approved back when the original agreement was signed. And at that point, once those changes were to be offered to Forest Green, at that point is when this should have been stopped, and it should have been brought back to council to discuss whether or not they wish to continue with the agreement as it stood or make an amendment before monies were expended. As I said before, Forest Green is a good company. They've done some good work for us in the past. Hope they would like to continue to work with the city in the past. This is a contractual issue. Again, I would not be doing my job as mayor if I don't follow the contracts. I think we need to take that into consideration. That is why I vetoed this particular item. You have my backup material on that as to why I vetoed this item. And I'll go ahead and just leave it at that and ask for any further comments from council or staff. Okay, seeing none, we'll seek a motion then on agenda item 11. Councilman Withhelder.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion that the veto item stand as written.
All right, I'm assuming that would be okay, Ms. Hunt, is that correct? All right. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and call for that vote. That motion carries. Thank you.